and welcome to your Sunday edition of the This Is Ibrox podcast. My second podcast in a day because I just love that game so much. I want to sit and talk about it again. My name's Iain Mitchell, and I'm joined by Tommy and Hef for this one. Hef, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on today? How raging are you still? And what, as I say, what's the feeling right now? 6 hours after full time?
I suppose you could say that it's nice to be in a position where you know where we are going into the league title running, which is that we will be very, very far back in that race. We're out it. I'm raging because at that point in time I thought when we were 2-0 up that we were cruising and that this was going to be the start of a wonderful springtime. And no, we bottled it yet again. The players need to have a hard look at themselves. And I'm not happy tonight, Iain.
I did sense that. Yes, it might be the theme of the pod. Tommy will check. How are you feeling, Tommy? Are you as negative as me and Hef are going to be here? Do you have any ray of hope that we could cling on to here?
You take you think of symbolism, Iain, and you think that 90 minutes, right? You think that 90 minutes sums up Rangers in the last few years, but in 90 minutes, right, where we get ourselves in a position where it's promising and then we ruin it. Yeah, so you take that 90 minutes, that has been what it's been like for the last few years. Yeah.
That feels quite profound of you. But yes,
Thank you.
It's classic us. It's do good, do something good, get the hopes up, get the excitement levels up, and then shit the bed. And here we go. We'll go through the major moments. Obviously, me and JB had our post-match from the gantry earlier on this afternoon, so you can go back and watch that. It's a similar vibe to this one. It won't shock anyone. But we'll start off very positive because Rangers started very positive. That's maybe the most dominant Old Firm performance I've seen from a Rangers side in a hell of a long time, we'll say at very least. Tommy, I'll come to you first. You'll get the lovely opportunity to discuss Chermiti's first goal.
Love that.
It's an absolute wonder goal, as I said in our post-match earlier. Is it the best goal you've seen? Is it the best Old Firm goal you've seen? What's your take on it?
It's absolutely the best Old Firm goal I've seen. And I was actually trying to think of live in a stadium, what goal have I seen that's better than that? I think the only thing that ruined it for me was that I was at the other end of the stadium, so I didn't really get to see the full beauty of it. But I saw him rise, and then from there I was just looking at the net, and I was like, "That right, I want that net to bulge," and obviously it did. But it was mad because when he scored that, I was celebrating it, of course, but then everybody around was
yes.
Half the stadium were in disbelief, oh my god, he's just done that, and then half the people are going mental, and then people are in between, being what, and then so it was crazy, but what a good goal.
I think my favourite thing was obviously in the gantry. We're still fans. We're still going to go mental, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The goal goes in, and JB just took off. Don't know where he went. Ran down the gantry somewhere, and I was that guy just standing motionless, going, Is that just happened? Because I think, because you see him lining it up and you have that split second of, mate, what are you doing? You're not that guy.
You are that guy. Though. He was so high in the air.
The photo that the Rangers website or Twitter pages put on after the game or during the game probably, he's so high. It's so perfect. And we were saying in the media room at half time, it's not like the Rooney one years ago against Man City where it comes off his shin and it's a little bit fortunate.
It's a shin. Yeah.
Exactly. This is clean contact, perfect position, and that's why you pay 9 million for a striker, maybe. Hef, you had a probably not similar view from Tommy, but you were at the opposite end of the stadium. Did you see it in all its glory, or what was your take on it as well?
Well, I've got to laugh because a boy in the bus was sitting in the front and he was trying to do a request a bit, and he turned round, Fraser. He turned round and he was like, "I'm trying to do a request a bit on Chermiti to score a bikie." And we were like that. We were like, shut up, you idiot. He's like, there's no way that he's going to score a bicycle kick. And then the next thing, I just see the ball going in, and he obviously goes up, and I'm thinking, oh, I really hope he got that bet on. But No, best. I would say in terms of goals that I've seen live for an Old Firm, the best goal I'd seen before then was Jamie Ness's strike.
Yep.
That was the best goal I'd seen in terms of like distance and just like obviously a young player scoring at that time. But no, and it set the tone for what you wanted was if Rangers can get out the gates early and get an early goal and put them against the wall, that's it. Like it couldn't have been more perfect the way that he's actually got up there and managed to make connection, because obviously Chermiti's known for being a bit kind of harem scarum sometimes on the ball, kind of falls through players and manages to get through, and then he scores that nice goal against Hearts in the air, and then he scores that goal against Celtic, and you think, this guy's an anomaly. Like, what happened? What happens to Chermiti week to week that he can't do anything against Livingston, and then he goes up and scores an overhead kick goal against Celtic in the first,
as Steve says here,
of the game.
Sublime or shite. There's absolutely no in between. It's spot on. He then scores again because, of course, he does. This one's quite different, but I still enjoyed it in terms of doesn't give it up, starts to use his frame, which he doesn't usually do. Again, at that point, we're loving life. Tommy, what was the scenes like in the Govan?
I mean, just to touch on what Hef in the comments are saying as well, like one thing to mention, right, is that Chermiti has now scored 9 league goals this season, and 8 of them have came against Celtic or Hearts. Like, that's mad.
That is nuts.
Yeah, so 4 against Celtic, 3 against Hearts at home.
No, 4 against Hearts, in total.
Yeah, he did Tynecastle get. You forget about that goal, but the Tynecastle goal as well. But yeah, what are you asking me about the second goal?
Yes, so just more you're feeling at that time, because the second goal, as we said, it's a nice goal, the way he's worked it and kind of made it for himself. Bit questionable defending, obviously, but...
Do you know what? I feel like the second goal is going to go under the radar a bit because of the first goal. Yeah, it's probably rightly so because it was a brilliant goal. But like, I think he done so well to kind of not nick the ball, but like have that touch and then kind of spin and then be in a position to score. Like, I think it was like, I think like when I watched that goal back, I was like, that is also a brilliant goal, but people are not going to think that's but because you're going to think about his first goal, and you're going to think like that's a pinnacle of Chermiti, but I thought that was a great goal as well.
Yeah,
very clever.
And this is the thing, he was playing obviously very well, but everybody was playing very well. Like,
we were
Romans,
so up for it.
Romans was perfect the first half.
Yeah.
Perfect. Everything he done was perfect. Defence was solid. Midfield were bossing it. The wingers were involved. Mikey Moore
was
the best,
by the way.
the best performance I think he's had.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like turning tone at this point, you might notice. Hef will stay slightly positive at half time. Did you think the game was won?
No, and where I sat in the Copeland front, obviously the Union Bears were singing and the songs started to ramp up in intensity and personal attacks on individuals, which I was certainly not taking part in. But there was a lot of singing, and one of the songs that they started singing were "Oh, the Celtic were not very good," and at that point I was thinking, a bit early for that.
Too early, yeah, too early.
Bit early, because
they had been.
Factual,
but yeah,
and they have.
Yeah. At that point,
in the previous 40 minutes before they started singing it, they had been, and in the previous 90 minutes of X amount of games prior to that, they also had been. But there was still a bit of me that was like, let's not get carried away here, because if you think back to the reverse fixture at the same time, roughly last year, we were in 2-0 down and came away with the 3 each draw, which felt like a win at the time. So in my head, I was going, 2-0's not a win. And I had that kind of anxiety about me where I was thinking, we need to come out here in the second half and get the third goal. But sadly, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, Iain. I was just getting a wee bit.
This will be quite all over the place, I think. So feel free. We've done a post-match formal one. This is more a ranting session from this point on. So please feel free.
No, to answer your question, I didn't think that the game was won. I thought that Rangers had done the majority of the work that they needed to sustain enough pressure on Celtic, and then it was in Celtic's hands to say, right, are you going to flip here, or are you going to fold? And I think at that point, Celtic made the changes, made the tactical changes as well as the personnel changes, and we were rattled, absolutely rattled, and we had no answer to it for at least another 20 minutes. And by that point, the Celtic fans had found their voice, and we had started to build the pressure on the team as a fan base, and the two mixing together was an absolute disaster. And the way I had described it on the bus was Celtic scored the goal quite early on in the second half, and everything from that point up until the final whistle was Celtic momentum. We gathered nothing.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a chance where it was like we had created a couple of chances, and therefore we kind of sucked it out themselves a wee bit, but there was nothing, absolutely nothing. It was just Celtic, Celtic, Celtic the whole way, right up until the end. And then the fact that they got their goal, you just knew that they were going to go on and get the second and even potentially the third. And I didn't see enough gumption from our players or our management to kind of make those changes and make the personnel changes when players were clearly falling about, absolutely knackered. We made no changes whatsoever to rectify the problems that we were facing. So it's going in 2-0, and I know for him, yes, that's exactly where he would rather be. You'd rather do that than going in 2-0 down, but I did not think that we were going to win it.
Yep, no, I think that's very fair. And Tommy, we'll look at both goals separately. If we come to the first one that Celtic score, Hef said it, you feel it coming. I said to a few guys that we're sitting with, we need to ride out the first 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. If we need to be arsey, if we need to be bastards, if we need to do some cynical fouling, some time wasting, whatever it takes just to relax things, because it was getting a bit frantic. I thought Celtic subs obviously made a massive difference. Hatate was incredible the second half. I'm not going to sit and say how great Celtic are on a podcast, obviously, but Hatate was just that cool head that was getting on the ball and doing things that our midfielders weren't doing, just switching play, calming things down. For that first goal, where is the blame for you if we look at it from a Rangers perspective? Because Kieran Tierney should not be scoring a header, period. What's gone wrong there?
I think if we take it back, like, further look at halftime, right? And, like, this one thing that I wanted to mention that I noticed in the ground was, see when the halftime whistle was blown, right? And everybody's cheering, right? It was a great half, right?
Yep.
Chermiti took a while to come off the park, right?
Yes.
As if he's some sort of hero, right? And he's coming off the park, right? But everybody else is off the park, like, maybe 30 seconds before he even begins to walk.
Yep.
He knew what he was doing, right? And then, I don't know if you might have been away for a pie at this point, Ian, but like he's like fist pumping and all that. And I'm like that.
Yeah.
I thought at this moment, right, when he was walking off, doing all that, I'm like, somebody's just said that they can't hear Tommy. Is that, have you having
I'm jealous.
issue with it?
I can hear you. Just speak. Go closer to your mic
so
the fine people can hear you as well.
Fine.
But yeah, we're fine.
I'll turn my mic up a bit. But yeah, in that moment, I thought these guys think this game is done. The way that Chermiti was walking. By the way, this is not like saying Chermiti was at fault for the draw today. It was something that I noticed, and I was like, they thought that like. Steve G saying you're not missing much, right? I'll just go off this pod, But no, I was thinking like they think this game is won, you know? And then like before Tierney scored, Ian, I said to Andy, my pal Andy, who was at the game with, I said, I'm worried. Well, before it even went 2-1, I said to him, I'm worried because I can see.
You're worried that it might go 2-1, knowing how it'll then go.
No, but I'm not. I'm not even talking about 2-1, Ian. I'm worried because I can see us not winning the game. Not even it going 2-1. There's just the way that we came out in that second half, and then they had too much space. You know, like, so I think the ball comes in the box, yeah, and I can't remember. It might be McGregor who's able to like lay the ball off to Nygren, I think it is. And like, how's he got so much space? And then McGregor's got enough space to play the ball completely without any pressure on him. Nygren's then got space to take the ball out his feet, all in the box, by the way, or very like close to being in the box. And then the ball comes in, and Tierney's getting marked at the point where the ball comes in, but then he has a header that's completely unchallenged. So how? right? So we defended so well in the first half. We kept them so quiet in the first half, and then how do you concede a goal that's so weak? You know, like it's so preventable. That's what annoyed me.
Yeah, and again, we're saying we feel it coming, and like the stadium, I thought was a bit edgy, a little bit like, oh, I hope they don't score because if they score one, they'll get to. I'm going to say this a few times. Fans can think this, and the reason I said to Hef, "Did you think the game is won?" is that fans can think the game's won. Players can't. And what you said at half time is a really good point. I should have brought it up myself because I did see it. There was a few of them. I think Raskin was right up the back as well. Maybe Stelling's with them and Chermiti. They're just kind of waltzing off the pitch as if like, look at us. Look at us. This is done. This is having a great time. Season 15 minutes. We'll go. Like, no, every Celtic player was right down the tunnel. No, they're going to get a bollocking, obviously, but right down the tunnel, getting instructions on. They were out a good few minutes before us as well. It's just little details like that that just kind of set a scene. And again, Chermiti fist bumping. Loved it at the time. I can't, I was, oh, good for him. He's milking this. Fair play. If you then don't see out the job, you've got no right doing it. You looked after this point. So, yeah, Hef on the goal itself there, as Tommy was saying, it's very avoidable. I think it's Nygren gets the time to touch, look up, put a cross in as he's in our box. Tommy said it again. I think it's Raskin that's marking Tierney, just lets him head the ball. Tierney, who's 5'10", he's one of the smaller players on the pitch. It's so avoidable. It's so frustrating. What was your take on the first Celtic goal?
I thought the first Celtic goal was synonymous of the way that the second half had started, which was we just weren't quick enough to press the team. I don't know if it was a fitness issue, but every opportunity that we had to just rush out and be like match them man for man and get tight and put pressure on them, we just didn't do it. And the problem that you had was the whole of the first half seemed very, very structured. It seemed as if we're going to go man for man in defence, transition into attack. We're going to go man for man. We're going to press. We're going to leave Liam Scales. We're going to let him have as much of the ball as he wants. But the minute he plays the pass, we're going to trigger and we're going to go. And that's let Liam Scales have the ball as much as you want. Celtic then changed their formation and we didn't react at all. Nadiri, for the full first half, just kept dropping in really deep, and it almost him or Mikey Moore kept dropping in significantly deeper than they should have, and it basically meant that when Callum McGregor did get the ball, somebody there was just there to wipe it away. And I think had that been the case for when you're talking about when Benjamin Nygren gets the ball, had Nadiri or Mikey Moore been playing that little bit deeper, then that personnel would have been in there, whoever it may have been, either one of those two, would have been there to do it. But we didn't have the instruction. It didn't seem as if the players, or if they did, they just seemed as if they were going, no, never mind what he's saying. Let's be super cautious here and let's just stay 5-10 yards further back than what we want to do.
Which is probably worse than if it was just a tactical thing. Yeah,
it's significantly worse because regardless of how poor Celtic are, see if you just let a team that have sparks of quality, albeit fleeting, if you allow them to have chances where you go, I'm going to let you have a cross from within the box into a player who's against Nico Raskin, who, albeit is particularly good in the air for a smaller guy, but if you're going to let him just do that without putting any sort of pressure on him, you're going to get shot in the foot every single time. And in the comment there that the midfield disappeared in the second half, the midfield got swamped because nobody was dropping in from the attack deep. Everybody just stayed up high, and Chukwani and Raskin were blown out their arse. And if you're going to make these changes in retaliation all the time to them doing it, when we're in the driving seat, we're 2-0 up, and we're retaliating to what they're doing. For me, the tactics going into the second half were all wrong. We should have been going for the third goal, and ultimately they've got it. And I think I did say to the boy that was sitting beside me, I said, "This is they're going to score here. Like, it's coming. Because it was corner, it was free kick, it was this, it was that, everything was up their end, and I didn't feel comfortable. And I think as soon as they got it, that was the first you heard the Celtic fans the whole game and that was enough for them to think, we've rattled them here. And this is what I had been saying the whole time was, for the circumstance for next week is, if Celtic fans take up, which they are, if they're going to bring enough fans to fill the Brimlin stand, then that's wonderful for them if they're winning and they can sing and dance and do whatever else is that they do. But if we're winning, then that's going to be very, very silent for them, and it would have been brilliant to put them in their place. You saw how quickly that turned today, when after 5 minutes in that second half, we didn't come out firing, and the whole stadium had, like you said, had that flip of anxiety. That stress level was significantly higher, and they sensed an opportunity, and they got it. And I think at that point in time, to get the goal, there's still plenty of time to go on and get 2 more. So they've got something worth cheering for, whereas we feel as if we're throwing something away.
Yep, Tommy, we made a sub not long after the goal, which was Diomande coming on. I liked the sub at the time, so I thought, okay, Danny Rohl's seen that something, this isn't working anymore, players are tired, we need something different. Diomande comes on, which again, happy with. I kind of wanted him to start anyway, so I was obviously happy. But he comes on and does very badly, for everything he does, basically. But he's also playing sort of like trying to do what Nadiri was doing. Maybe a number 10, maybe he's like a shadow striker. He's off the striker in some way. He's not in the middle of the pitch where Celtic are still dominating. Do you think that's Diomande getting a bit lost in what he's supposed to be doing? Why was he so poor today? Because he usually is the one that's so strong in this fixture.
Well, one thing that if we go back to the Gassama sub as well, I was like, I felt like this is perfect for Gassama. Yeah, like tired legs, right? And that's where we saw against Livingston. No, it wasn't Livingston. It was
Hearts.
Yeah, the game he comes on and he sets Chermiti up for the hat trick. He was like good against tired legs. The only concern that I had, right, was that we were playing him out right. But yet again, at the same time, Tierney came off for Sriracha, so he wasn't coming on against tired legs. He was coming on against a guy who was coming on at the exact same time as him. So we weren't getting the full benefit of what we can get from Gassama. So I felt like at that point, like put him out the left and have a run at their right back, who had been on the full game. But obviously it didn't work out like that. Dio for me should have. There's arguments. Should Dio have started? It's a game for Dio, in my opinion. I don't think it was great when he came on. But again, you're getting 30 minutes. You're coming on when you're against the play. It's hard to embed yourself in the game in that scenario. So I don't think you can go too hard on Dio. I don't think it was great when he came on. Yet again, I think he has been great in recent weeks, and then we've kind of took a back seat on him. Yet again, like you can't argue with the lineup. We got it spot on. We were 2-0 up at half time, So could that have been made at half time? Dio has more time to maybe adjust to the game. I don't know.
So one of us, but if he changed it at half time, we're all saying you're playing perfect. Why making a sub? So it's a sort of lose.
I think Ian, what I will say at the time, Dio coming on made sense. Yeah, but like it made sense for him to play as a centre mid and maybe not as forward. I think maybe that's on Danny Rohl.
Yeah, and this comment about Rohl failing at his job today, we got a lot of comments in the post-match video, like Rohl's out his depth. You're going to get it every time Rangers drop points, obviously. I think people are just so frustrated that I get why it's happening, but the subs, strange for me today. Again, both those subs, maybe I would say both. The Dio one made sense. Gassama does not work outright. And even more to that, when we play that front three of Chermiti, Moore on that side, who was knackered, absolutely knackered, and Gassama on the right, it just doesn't work. Those three don't complement each other at all well. We can't hold the ball up. We can't make it stick. And it got in that pattern of Butland trying to kick up the pitch badly, and it would just come back. And again, Celtic have had their problems. They've not been great all season. But if you give good attacking players enough chances, they will put an odd good cross or two and they'll have a good shot or two. It was just relentless. And again, it goes back to we didn't manage the game. We weren't doing those fouls, doing that time wasting, being clever at any point. I thought we were getting away with it. We don't. I know I've asked you guys already, and you both think it was a penalty. I agree. I'd be screaming for it. What's annoyed me more here for the penalty is that the penalty's awarded. I do fancy Butland to save it because he's so good at saving penalties. He's just a big game player. That's what he does. How are we then allowing 3 shots after Butland makes that first save? Well, if you include the penalty, sorry, it's 3 shots. So it's Hatate's penalty, saved, rebound is even better save, and Celtic have 2 bodies there to tap it in, while Raskin and Diamandi are just pointing at the ref after it, going, "Oh no, he was encroaching." Why are they not involved? That is criminal for me. Did you think it was the same from your view?
It's just the mentality of players that are used to bottling it all the time and have already got in their head that they've conceded that goal. As soon as the penalty's given, it's almost as if it's like, well, that's that. The goal's there. It's 2 each now. And not once did you see players like when that penalty, when he's over at VAR, you never see someone just grab the players around and just say, "Get in here, right, see if this is a penalty and see if they score. This is what we're going to do," and rally them. They're all standing, spread out. There's no camaraderie. There's no team togetherness. There's no sense of like wanting to fight back. Like Tommy said, they were doing laps of honour at half time when they were walking off. So for me, it didn't surprise me. They had momentum. They wanted it. We bottled it. They wanted the goal. We didn't care. And it's a sad position that we're in because when you look at Jack Butland, the stat of the day for me was one of the boys in the bus said, out of the last 9 penalties, he's saved 8 of them out with penalty shootouts. So you've got to, if he's going to do that, you've got to back him. You've got to gamble on the idea that if he wins this, if he saves it, here's what we're bursting in there. And I don't care if we get done for a group, we're bursting in there because we need to get that second ball. But no. And you could look at it like you can be as quick as you want. If the ball is always going to move quicker than the player. So if the ball comes out and lands, fair enough for the second one, but not for the third. You've got to at least have someone in there, at least challenging. It didn't even look as if we cared.
Can I be controversial about Butland today?
Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, so one, right? He should have done better for Tierney's goal, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a savable shot, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Don't know if people agree. Secondly, right, he killed us with his passing. Yeah.
Yes.
Constantly gave them the ball back. Yeah. His passing was so bad. Yeah. And then
terrible.
This one not so much, right? But the penalty was a great save. But can he push that out for a corner, right, and not back into Hatate? And then the second one, rebound, yet again a good save, but the second one not so much because it hits off his foot. That can go anywhere. But the first one, when he makes a save, can he push it out for a corner? But yeah, the first goal, I think it could have done better. And he killed us. I thought he killed us with his passing. That's
the passing. I'm fully with you. The penalty save. I don't think a keeper ever has a right to save it. So the fact he has saved it, for me, that's like you've done your job. You're then just not helped by your defence. The kicking, but he can't kick he's right-footed. I think he kicks every ball with his left foot.
I don't know what
he doing.
He is.
What's he doing? And there was a couple of times where not an easy pass as such, but there's a decent chance to just clip it over to your right back or left back, even over the first press just into Raskin. He's not got that pass in him. And you've not got that pass, it means you have to go short, and Celtic were pressing, so the short option wasn't there, or you have to go long. You've got a guy that's 6'4", whatever Chermiti is up there. Put it on his head. He didn't win a lot of headers the second half, but he wasn't helped to win many headers either. It just got to that stage, as I was saying before, where he's just lumping it. I'm just going to try and empty this. Put out for a throw for Celtic, just giving it into their midfield. And it was just relentless. Just as I'm talking to a new member, Kelly Pie, thank you so much. I still don't understand what that means, but love it. Keep that coming.
I'm a big fan of Kelly Pies.
Always liked your pies, Mr. Kelly Pie. Thank you so much. Where were we? Oh, Butland's terrible. Oh, yeah. But no, Tommy, something I know you wanted to talk about was after they score, not the penalty, but they score that goal. There's still 5 minutes. You know, it could have been this whole, we've let it go. Oh, we're going to win it. I have no faith that we're going to find a winner at all. We don't do it. We've not done it. The facts tell us we don't do that. Don't see it coming. Didn't do it at Livingston. Didn't do it when Motherwell equalised late on. There was still a decent amount of time there. Weren't going to do it today. But we get a free kick. I think we get a corner and a free kick sort of back to back. And we go short. We're a team of 6'4" attackers, defenders. We have the height on them. We have the power on them. We have a good set piece threat. Why are we taking a free kick shot in the 94th minute or whatever it was?
It was 94-30 or something like that. And I remember
chance,
it.
Yeah.
I remember at the time it was Sterling. Yeah, he ran down the right side, brilliant. Like driving through. I think it was Tenecti fouled him, and I said to Andy, guy I was sitting next to, I said, like, this is it. Like, if we're going to win the league, if we're going to have, this has to be a moment. Yeah, but even before the words came out of my mouth, we'd hit it short. I was like, what are we doing? Like, any team, yeah, like with any know-how how to win like a tight game, they do not go short there, right? And we were going short on corners a lot today as well. We have Fernandez, yeah, that's like 8 foot tall, yeah, and their right back was marking him at corners, yeah. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to attempt it.
Araujo, yes.
Araujo, yeah, right. So he was marking Fernandez at corners, yeah. That's a mismatch, yeah. So at that point, I was thinking, right, free kick, get everybody up. It's going to be the last moment of the game, yeah. Regardless if the ball goes in or if they clear it, yeah, it's probably going to be the last moment of the game.
Yep.
There is no need to do that short, and like, I just didn't understand it, and it just showed me that we don't have any knowledge or any know-how how to win these kind of games in that scenario. Because
do you know what I think
if they had won that free kick, Iain, they'd have done the right thing, and that would have been get bodies in the box and put it in. Yeah, they would have never hit that shot.
What I think that is, and it's kind of testament to how a few of them played in the second half anyway, I don't think Gassama wants the crowd on his back for hitting a bad cross. I think he's been like handed the ball, said, right, take this, and he's thought, oh, if I put a bad ball in here, they're going to shout at me. I'll just pass the responsibility to someone else. And it's what they do when you're up against it. It's just what they do. It's what we've seen all season. Nobody wants to take accountability. Tav is often the one giving the ball and saying, right, you do something. He's not done as much this season as previous seasons, but I just think it's that, to be honest. And it's pathetic because these are professional football players who should have that knowledge, whether it is, third time I've said this now, whether it is that game management, the time wasting, the fouls. We don't do it. There's one as well that really annoyed me. I think it was after they'd equalised, even before the free kick, where I think it might have been from it. Raskin tried that overhead kick. Thinks he's Chermiti right at the very end. Again, you're not that guy. It's not going to happen. But he misses it, and that Araujo is right in his face, like as Raskin's on the ground shouting at him. Don't know what he's shouting exactly. We just watch him. There's like 4 Rangers players in that small circle, just watching Araujo shout at Raskin's face. Have a go back, like grow up, go, challenge him. And I know there's a wee bit of spat at the end there, bit too late when the game's done. Half the stat that annoyed me most, I think, of all this, is that in the first half, Celtic's XG was 0.03. One shot from miles out. Second half,
it wasn't even a shot on target, yeah.
No, it's just an effort from outside.
What was it? I can't even remember it. That's how bad they were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Second half, they had 16 shots, 7 of which on target, 6 big chances, but I think a lot of that is the penalty and the chaos from that. How that term "tale of two halves" gets branded a lot. Is this the biggest story of two halves kind of game that you've seen, especially in Old Firm? Maybe excluding January when it was us doing that.
No, because I think that's what happens in these games is you can never be too cautious, or you can never be too cautious, but you can also not be too gallus in these games where you just need to be focused and stick to the job at hand. And I think what happens quite often is the team that can sustain their head for the 90 minutes will ultimately win the game. So Celtic came out and got a doing. Now, like I said before, there's 2 ways to react to that: is either crumble and you shy away into a shell, or your eyes to it. And this is what I've said the whole time about Rangers chasing the league title, was that I think that we do so much better when we've been written off, and it's a case of we went on that run where we had won like 9 games in a row, and we were really chasing for it, and it was like, we're going to get there, we're going to get to a position. Then we got into a position where we were in contention, and we bottled it. And it was the same with today. It was like 2-0 up. We're going to go
and
for
last
it.
week, and last week,
and last week,
yep.
We're going to get there. We're going to still be in this title race, and we bottled it. And I'm not in the camp. I don't think that Rohl. I don't. But I can't believe for a minute that Danny Rohl has went out there and said sit in. I think it's the players who have taken that on themselves, because I wasn't watching Danny Rohl. I'm not going to be one of these people that was saying, "Oh, I was watching Danny Rohl's movements and stuff at the side of the pitch." But every time anything happened and there was a break in play, Danny Rohl screaming at them and like waving his hands, like, "Get up there, get up, press, get in their faces." It's the players that have shied away. I think that you can stay in your position, and where in the first half with players were gambling. Mikey Moore was taking on 3 and 4 players and springing passes right across the end to the other side of the park. We're nowhere near that in the second half. Raskin was the only one in the whole game that was consistent, because he was pishing the first half and pishing the second.
I
thought Raskin was good in the first half.
Absolutely ranked. He's been ranked all season. He's not kicked his arse all season. And I think, for me, that's a player who last season he's vice captain. He's going to be the next captain. No chance. Take whatever money you can get for him in the summer and get him out, because he thinks he is a Premier League, Champions League type player, and he's not. He's far from it. He's bang average at best. I think he'll do well in another team round about him where there are other good players, potentially, like in Belgium. But no, I think it's woeful. But I just said it there. Let's see, last year when we were 2-0 down and it was 3 each. You think about that. You think about the game where it was 3-1. Obviously came out and completely changed the game. This seems to be the tale of not just Old Firms, but Rangers this season is, and I said it a few weeks ago, was if we have a good first half, we end up bottling it in the second, and if we have a terrible first half, we end up coming out and playing better in the second. We cannot sustain the way in which we are playing for the full 90 minutes. It just doesn't seem to be feasible. Whereas, what is Danny Rohl saying to his players at half-time to make them come out and be so bad for Martin O'Neill to go in from Celtic being so bad? What has he said to them to get them G'd up, because they came out flying?
Yep. Tommy, there's 2 comments that are kind of mirroring, I think, everyone's thoughts, but David asked, said, the players look shattered after 50 minutes. That's the big worry. And I think that's an JGI, which is difficult to say. Players looked so unfit. They really did. And that was what I thought was the big positive of this period of time, that we had the Hearts game, then a week off in Livingston, then a week off Celtic, now a week off. Why are we looking so unfit when we're not the team that played in Germany 3 nights ago? Celtic should have been that team that tired and got worse as the game went on. That was us. How does that make sense?
Something that we spoke about after the game, and you've got to think, like, did we put too much effort into the first half where it didn't really seem like we were huffing and puffing too much, but like you could see, like for me, there was a few players you could tell like they were knackered, and then I was kind of having this thought of, well, see, under Gerrard, we never looked like that. Yeah, like our fitness is like never an issue. Yeah, it seemed like we could run. That was like one of the great things about the Gerrard team as well. But like since then, we have had instances where like we have looked tired, and I don't know, like, did we put too much into that first half, and then let's say like like what you touched on earlier, Ian, I thought the same as you when Hatate came on. I thought he changed the game. They controlled the midfield a bit. We were maybe having to run a bit more. He was kind of dictating the ball a bit. They had Tenecti coming on. He was kind of being a bit more positive for them in terms of driving with the ball.
Yep.
We probably had
I
to
think
use our legs
Maeda up
more.
front. Maeda up front was terrifying Suter as well. He didn't know how to handle him.
So I don't know. Like, did we put too much effort in that first half? I don't know. But like, yeah, that was really concerning for me. I thought like in particular, I was watching Romans, and I was like, that he's done. Like, I think it was like 75th minute. He was holding his leg. He was like, he looked knackered. He was like,
that's what annoys me, but because we've got Magoma sitting there.
We've got Magoma on the bench. Yeah, that's what. Well, I actually thought I was like that. Well, that's an easy sub. Like, it's fine. Like Magoma just comes in. And then that's fine. Fresh legs.
I think exact same with Majowski. Both those guys started the last Old Firm at Ibrox anyway. I don't think Majowski didn't start at Parkhead, but it's two different experience levels. But it's two guys that have shown they can do something. And if your starting 11 are shattered, there's two guys right there. I don't want Asgard on. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to go that far. I've lost faith in that guy.
I mean, we had the subs there, but they made 5 subs, didn't we? We didn't. So I think they made all 5. We didn't, so you know, but you've got 5 subs there to use 5 subs. You know,
even
if
just
guys are
tired.
Sorry, was the comment not, or was the rumour not that Miovski had created some sort of a spat in the training ground, commenting on wanting more game time? So is it maybe been a case of Miovski's? I don't know how much truth there is in that. It's pure Facebook chat, but
I love scandal rumour. No, that's fine. Bring it on.
From what people had been saying in the stadium and outside the stadium was that Miovski had been complaining about game time. I didn't really believe it because I didn't think that was. It didn't seem like the sort of player that he is. He always seems quite mellow, almost too mellow at times. But I'd heard that it was been a case that Miovski had been complaining about his game time, and maybe Danny Rohl's out of pettiness or out of like kind of putting his, I don't know, putting a line in the sand saying, no, you're not playing today no matter how hard. But like the guy saying, Miovski kind of, he's not caring. He's getting paid the big bucks to sit there on the bench. Couldn't care less if he came on and scored. So I think it would have been an easy one. But it also, whether it's fitness or not, it shows just how little he thinks of Miovski, because I think Chermiti was actually asking to come off and he still didn't come off.
Well, he was doing every possible sign. Like, I think he held his back, he lay on the ground for a bit, he was holding his knee at one point. Like, oh, yeah, just one away for that. But no, he stayed on and we carried on being terrible. So, a few things to bring up. I'm going to bring up a question from our new friend, Kelly Pye. Tommy, if I ask you first, and it's very dramatic, but Danny Rohl, stay or out? His opinions that he should stay for the full season. I think most people would agree with that, and then some. Like, this is the problem that Danny Rohl's maybe got. He got us into such a strong position. Not been top at any point, obviously, but right in amongst it. Last 2 games starting to fall away a little bit. Is that a long-term concern? Is it something Danny Rohl should be learning to do better in terms of managing games, or is it just still the squad isn't quite capable of winning these kind of games?
I mean, if the question is, should Danny Rohl be sacked? Absolutely not. But that would be like crazy. Like, I wouldn't agree with that. Do we have to question Danny Rohl? Yes, absolutely. Like, yeah. It's a bit of it on the players as well. Yeah, for me. Like, it's a bit of a mixture. But would we be in this position without Danny Rohl? I don't think so. You look at what Russell Martin, the position he puts in, and Danny Rohl's only had 4 new guys since that moment. Like, from January, he's had to deal with that team that Russell Martin destroyed, really, until then. So, absolutely not Danny Rohl out, but I do have slight concerns that he'll maybe fall into the Philippe Clement one, like where he does so well, he gets in the title race, we then don't win the title, and then it's really tough to recover from that. because you do the hard work, but you don't get over the line. So you carry that into the next season. I hope, of course, for us and for Danny Rohl that is not the case, but that is my concern at the minute, Ian, is that he's going to come under that category. But you think like January, I think we got recruitment spot on. So I think if we go into summer now and then recruit well, that's going to be the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Hef, who do you now make? I think Hearts are everyone's favourites, obviously. If Rangers are to get back in this, does it have to be 9 wins out of 9? And something you brought up earlier might be a little bit relevant because you said that when the pressure's off, and was it December into January, everyone thought we were done anyway. We rolled out 9 wins in a row. If we done that again, there's a decent chance we'd then be champions. Do you think this? Again, this is the most like try to gaslight myself into positivity I'm ever going to say. But do you think now that we're maybe third, maybe fourth favourites for the league, is that when Rangers start playing well? Pressure's off, no one's expecting us to do anything, and we just sneak up and win the league. The more I'm saying this out loud, it's not happening. But for the sake of the pod, do you think that's more possible now that we have fell away a little bit?
Sure. Does that help
Nice.
your positivity?
Yes,
No.
Yes, love that.
I think there's more chance of us doing better when the pressure's off, 100%. But I think at that point it'll be to fight for second. I don't think we'll be in contention for winning the league. I think if maybe the pressure will be off to say, listen, we're not going to win the league, but we need to make sure that we are in second. We need to make sure that we're in contention for second because, like I had said on, I think it might have been Tuesday night's pod of last week, we're going to need to, out of the next however many games that we've got left, we're going to need to better all the results that we have if we want to win. So we need to beat Celtic at home. We failed to do that. We're going to need to beat Falkirk away. We haven't done that yet. We're going to need to beat Hearts at Tynecastle. Haven't done that yet. Going to need to beat Motherwell at all.
You're ruining my positivity here. You're ruining it.
Haven't done that yet. But yes, Iain, maybe once the pressure's off, we can go on and we'll win every game. And maybe Hearts could lose all their games, and so too could Celtic. And we'll go in and 4 points.
They would only need to lose
clear.
one other game if we beat them. Just saying. You know, if 6 points now, so we beat them, it's a 3-point swing.
Yeah, but that's on the basis we win every other game, Iain. No?
And all the other teams. But the other teams would also need to be almost perfect as well.
Yeah.
And not perfect as in they'd need to win all their games, but their results would need to be perfect to match our... It's got like visions of that, like Zach Galifianakis, where all the numbers going around his head in terms of some sort of formation in which we could actually win this league. And
I'm thinking of the guy from It's Always Sunny who's got the chalkboard and the kind of like the conspiracy one. Going, if we done this, if this happens, that's Charlie. The pain here. That's the stage we're at. As David's put out as well, if it finally loads up, there we go. You're more concerned about St Mirren away, and that's, I think, the big problem here. We would have to go to St Mirren and win, Falkirk and win, Celtic and win, Hearts and win, plus the other one, which we're not certain that's going to be just yet. They're not going to do that. Are they? Again, we're talking about mentality all night. We're talking about attitudes, their application. If they play like they did in the first half, there's clearly a good team there. There's good players there. But you just don't back them, do you, Tommy?
No, absolutely not. Like I'd love to, Iain. Like I said, like at the start of the pod when you asked it, I was like, well, we're good at putting ourselves in a good position, but then when we need to do it, and this is something I think we touched on after the Motherwell game, Iain, when we were in the pub watching it, and we were talking about like, oh, well, now we need to go and beat Hearts, and now we need to go and do this, now we need to go and do that. It's always like, you know what, though, it's fine because, you know, if we win all these other games and every other team gets beat 4-0 and we win every game 5-0, why can't we just be in a position where it's straightforward where it's in our hands, yeah. We're always in a position where we're talking about, oh, well, that's fine, we got beat because we just need to go on a run now, you know? Like, that's what's annoying me about this
Why is
season.
that then? I'll ask you that question back to you. Why do we always make it hard? And that's
mentality, yeah. Because, like, I mean, what we need to do next season probably is just tell these guys that we're playing friendlies every week, yeah? There's no league table, you know? Don't show them the league table, you know? Don't show them where we are on the table. Just play these games, tell them it's a friendly, go out and win. No pressure. We'd probably win every game. Yeah. As soon as they think like, oh no, we really need to win today, you know, they seem to not deliver. That's what's annoying, you know.
It feels like the Hearts game was quite a false dawn, doesn't it?
Yeah.
On that,
that was the big game. Yeah.
Did you see Iain and Tommy that STV football podcast were talking about it on Monday, and they were saying that I can't remember the exact numbers, but in terms of like why you're worried about St Mirren away, is that something about 3 or 4 teams this season have broke their all-time point record so far this season. So like Motherwell haven't had a better season than they have this year, in the same season that Hearts haven't had a better season than they have, and Falkirk, and I think there was one other. So
I think Hibs as well are higher than usual.
I was going to say Hibs, but I wasn't sure. But it's you think like it's not just like obviously they're picking up points because the Old Firm are poorer, and that's not to take away from that. But what is showing is that you can't take any of these games for granted. Like we have drawn something like we have dropped like 10 points or something from the bottom 6. Like it's terrible the amount of games that we have lost or drawn that you look back at and think that was a pure nothing game. Like everybody just kind of one of those where you go, I might stick it on, or I'll watch it, but you know I'll be on my phone or whatever because it'll be a shoe in, and we struggle. So it's been a really really competitive league this year, and hopefully, if we don't win it, which would take me to rub one of the lamps in the house and for the genie to pop out, but if that's not an option, then you've got to hope that Hearts do it.
Didn't know what you were going to rub for a second there. Just was like,
that's the 9:30 show.
that's the after dark pod. Tommy, next week we have the same opponents that come back with more fans this time, which will be smelly. What do we do for this game now? Because Celtic obviously playing Wednesday. They will win on Wednesday because Aberdeen they're playing. They'll be jumping into that game, knowing how today went for them. More fans, as I say, so I got to ask on these pods, is this must win? But does a win next week fix anything of today, or is it just annoying either way?
It feels like now next week is probably our only chance to win a trophy this season. Yeah, so like, but yeah, again, yeah, because I don't think we're going to win the league game.
No, I know, it's just hearing it out loud hurts.
What else are we going to win? So you know, but in saying that, don't tell the players that because it'll put too much pressure on them, you know, and they'll go out and they'll not win. So I don't know, like I don't know, maybe like being 2-0 up was actually a bad thing today. You know, they always say like 2-0's a dangerous lead. So I don't know, maybe we need to be in a position where it's a tight game the full way through, going into like the last 15 and we nick it. I don't know, like, but yeah, I don't know. We need to take some confidence from that first half, yeah. So we were brilliant, yeah. The first half. If we played that way in the second half, we'd be on this pod now saying that you know we're going to win the Champions League next season. You know,
we'd be in a pub. We'd be a pub somewhere.
Well, absolutely. So I mean, the second half just brings it probably back down to earth in a way. But like, if we can play for 90 minutes the way that we did the first 45, then I don't see any problem. But then if Celtic played the way that they did the second 45, the full 90, then maybe we're in trouble. So it'll be an interesting game. It's a cup game, so it'll be maybe a bit of a different feel. It can end to each. Somebody has to win. So I don't know. But yeah, Iain, it feels like our only chance for a trophy. So I feel like I feel like it is a must win, but every game is a must win. So yeah.
It's been a long season, and I think we'll wrap up there. I've talked about this game far too much today, so I'm going to go and do anything but watch football. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks to the new members. Absolutely love that. We'll end with some positivity that Kelly Pye thinks we're going to win the league. Maybe he's not a Rangers fan after all. Thanks everyone for joining us. Yes, Kilmarnock. Yeah, we're back on Tuesday night. Try not to talk about this game too much. That'll be more looking ahead to the future and try and get some positivity going again. But if Space is already giving that away, if you can like the videos, if you can subscribe, if you can follow us on all the multiple platforms that we're on, there'll be loads of clips and stuff coming out the next few days. So check those out. And if not, we'll see you all next time. Thanks again. Cheers.